Piers Morgan clashes with Harry and Meghan live? Russell Brand's session turns into explosive debate over royal exit and spiritual decline claims. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from. In today's commentary, I'm breaking down a highly talked about online discussion surrounding a supposed live-style panel conversation involving Piers Morgan, Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, and Russell Brand. The clip being widely circulated across social platforms shows a tense exchange about fame, identity, and what happens when public life collides with personal transformation. Now, before anything else, context matters. This is not an officially confirmed broadcast segment. What's circulating is a stitched, edited, and heavily interpreted discussion that has been reframed multiple times online. But the reactions it has triggered are very real, and that's what's fueling the controversy. The conversation allegedly begins with Russell Brand steering the discussion towards spirituality, personal evolution, and the psychological cost of public life. Harry is framed in these discussions as someone who has spoken publicly in the past about mental health, identity, and stepping away from royal duties. Then Piers Morgan enters the tone shift. According to circulating interpretations, he challenges Harry's transformation, questioning whether stepping away from royal responsibilities represents clarity or confusion. The language attributed to him online is sharp, direct, and intentionally provocative. Meghan is positioned in the conversation as a central influence in Harry's life decisions, with critics online framing her as the catalyst for his shift away from royal structure. Supporters, however, argue this interpretation reduces complex personal decisions into a simplified narrative built for drama. And that's where the debate splits hard. Because one side of the internet reads the exchange as a critique of identity drift, how fame, marriage, and media pressure reshape personal direction. The other side sees it as a repeated attempt to frame Harry's choices as loss rather than transformation. The phrase being widely circulated online, claiming Harry's spiritual grounding has weakened after marriage, has sparked backlash, not because it's verified, but because of how aggressively it reframes a deeply personal journey into a public diagnosis. And Russell Brand's presence in the alleged discussion adds another layer. Known for philosophical and spiritual commentary, his framing in the circulating clips is interpreted by some viewers as reflective, while others see it as amplifying speculative narratives without grounding. At some point in the discussion, according to viral edits, the tone becomes visibly tense. Interruptions overlap. Voices rise. Not in a chaotic shouting match, but in that controlled, uncomfortable energy where disagreement stops being theoretical and becomes personal interpretation of someone's life. But here's the key reality check. No verified full-length broadcast confirms this exact interaction in the way it is being described online. What exists are fragmented clips, commentary overlays, and edited compilations designed to maximize reaction. Still, the reason it spreads so fast is simple. It hits emotional pressure points. Royalty versus independence, spiritual identity versus public expectation, marriage as transformation versus control narrative. And once those themes are activated, people stop asking what happened and start arguing about what it means. That's how this becomes bigger than the source material. Because whether the conversation was real, edited, or reinterpreted, the debate it triggered is very real. It reflects ongoing public fascination with Harry and Meghan as symbols of autonomy versus tradition, and how quickly personal decisions become global narratives. So the turning point isn't a tantrum or a collapse. It's perception. One framing says liberation. Another says decline. And the internet does what it always does when faced with ambiguity. It picks the most extreme version and runs with it. In the end, the clip isn't really about a live session. It's about how fast interpretation replaces reality when public figures become symbols instead of people. And once that happens, every conversation becomes a courtroom. Not for facts. For narratives. If you thought that was wild, hit subscribe and drop a comment below. Wait till you see what was caught off camera.